Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday today. We had quite an exciting morning this morning. Um, Today, my youngest boy just had his second child, so we got a new grandbaby in our family. I thought I was too old to have more grandkids, but I guess not. So we're really excited about the new addition to our family. So congratulations to Brittany and my son Cody. So today, guys, those of you that follow me know that Emily and I we educate people on high fat, low carb meals, and combining it with intermittent and extended fasting, or we do alternate day fasting. And I've been working with a lot of the older people because that's me. I mean, I'm older, and it seems like there's a lot of misinformation out there on the amount of protein that the elderly should be eating because there's a lot of misconceptions about protein as being, too much protein can cause issues with your kidneys and gaining more fat and this and that. So I thought I would get on here today and talk a little bit about this topic. And I'm referring to those of you seniors out there, probably 50, 60, 70 plus. And also I'm referring to those of you out there that are exercising that might be doing what we're doing. We're doing interval strength training, so we do a lot of strength training and we work out 5, 6 days a week. And this also could be for those of you that don't exercise at all and want to live a better quality of life with what life you have left on this planet, and to be able to walk straight into, a lot of us adults or elderly would like to live in our own homes. But there's an issue, and why so many have to go to a senior home. And it's all driven by hormonal issues and it's food driven. That's the reason why so many elderly who don't seem to be that old can't take care of themselves and have to go into a senior home. And so the topic today is, should older adults consume more protein than younger adults? And why should they? And I'm going to refer to a study that was published in PubMed. And the title of this research is called Protein Consumption and the Elderly. What is the optimal level of intake of protein for an elderly person? And like I said, Emily and I, we work out hard 6 days a week. We're looking to put on more lean muscle, and we're also looking to get our body fat down even lower to an optimal level. We're not the average older people. So you guys that follow us know what Emily and I are doing. But anyway, the issue is that the majority of the elderly people nowadays, I'm talking about today, they're actually consuming not enough protein. That's why they're having issues on being able to take care of themselves, or they're having issues with not able to be strong enough to take care of themselves or whatever. Is because the lack of protein, the consumption, and causing them to lose lean muscle mass and become weaker and weaker and weaker. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Water consumption, hydration for elderlies, that's horrible too. I mean, I don't know why more doctors don't promote hydration to the elderly, because that's a common issue with the elderly. They don't drink enough water. Your body needs 75 to 80% water every day to operate efficiently. For some reason, as you get older and older, most of the elderly start drinking less and less. So by the time they're in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, they may only be consuming 40 to 45% water. And that's just not enough water. If you're looking as an elderly person to slow down premature aging, think of a grape. When a grape is on a vine and you bite into it, it'll squirt out what? It'll squirt out juice, right? Well, how do you make a raisin? You dehydrate the grape. That's the same thing for the elderly. As they decrease their hydration, their skin starts to get more and more wrinkled. I mean, that's also there's research actually showing that. But let's get back to the protein intake, and we'll use the hydration on another video. But anyway, this research was published in 2016, I think. Yeah, 2016, PubMed. It was published by the Journal of Nutrients. That's who published it. It's an abstract. So those of you that follow me, you know what an abstract research means. It's actually scientific research that was published in a medical journal. And it was, these researches could take 10, 15, 20 years before they could even publish them. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of read you what the research consists of, so that kind of give you an idea that this particular research I'm talking about was looking at the quality of life and health is critical for elderly adults. One of the major threats to living independently, and this is what I'm talking about, for an elderly to live independently, is the loss of muscle mass, strength, and function that progressively occurs with aging. What that means is that as you age, you're losing more muscle mass. So your strength is getting less and less. And it's all because it's food driven and hormonal driven also. So the research wanted to find out the benefits of increasing protein intake for the elderly. Several studies have identified protein, especially the essential amino acids. You guys know that when you consume protein, it breaks down into amino acids and it's transferred through the body, right? You know all that. As a key nutrient for muscle health in elderly adults. So what this research is looking at, and what they found out that it's essential, the amino acids is a key nutrient for muscle health in elderly adults. They determined that. Elderly adults are less responsive to the anabolic stimulus of low doses of amino acid intake compared to younger individuals. What they're saying here is that because we are older, and I'm talking about myself and my wife and those of us that are 50 plus, that we don't metabolize protein like we used to when we were younger. That's basically what's happening. We are not metabolizing it the same way as we were younger. However, this lack of responsiveness in elderly adults can be overcome with higher levels of protein or essential amino acid consumption. So what they're saying here is what they found out, that because us older people don't metabolize protein and break it down into amino acids like we did when we were younger, all we have to do is increase the amount of protein that we're consuming per day. Now, I know some health professionals and some medical professionals and some doctors are going to freak out because protein is known to be hard to digest and hard for the kidney to assimilate and all that stuff. And in a sense, it's true, and I'm going to explain it, that it takes a lot of protein in order to cause a major issue when it comes to digesting or metabolizing or kidney or causing a hardship for the kidney. And most elderly aren't going to be able to consume the amount of protein it will cause to make issues. But I'm going to explain something here toward the end here to help clarify about the digesting of certain types of protein and how to make it much easier for the kidney itself. Okay? So the requirements for a larger dose of protein to generate responsive in elderly adults similar to responsive in younger adults provide the support for a beneficial effect on increased protein in elderly population. So what they're saying here is all the seniors have to do is increase their protein intake higher than the normal younger adults to get the same response as the younger ones do. That's what they're saying. I'm going to review back now. Remember what I said. Myself, my wife, and us that are 50 over, that includes me, you don't utilize or you don't digest or you don't metabolize protein like you used to in the younger days, okay? Most published results based on data from all these different other researches indicate a potential benefit effect of increased. Now it's going to repeat itself. So this particular case study keeps going back and saying the same thing. Indicate a potential beneficial effect of increasing protein intake in elderly adults. These data demonstrated that the elderly adults compared with younger adults are less responsive to low doses of amino acids. So it came right back to remind us that. However, it says it again. However, this lack of responsive in healthy adults can usually and easily be overcome with higher levels of essential amino acids. So here it goes again. That's what they're finding out. This is also reflected in studies comparing varying levels of protein consumption, suggesting that the lack of muscle responsive to lower doses of protein intake in the elderly can be overcome. Okay, so what they're basically saying here is that by increasing your protein intake and doing some type of exercise, you are going to start to add lean muscle. There was a study done, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years ago that I remember back, where they actually went into a senior home and they took multiple seniors, 65 and older, up to 90, and they put them on a meal plan, and they also instructed them on a strength training routine, and 100% of them all started to gain lean muscle and strength by just upping their protein intake and by following a very structured meal plan, and of course strength training, not cardio. I'm talking about strength training. Cardio is just going to burn. I mean, that's not going to work. You got to do down pressure strength training. And these adults started to add lean muscle. Now, Emily and I are great examples of that. And there's a lot of others of us that are over 60 that are doing a certain structured meal plan, and we're doing strength training that are also doing. Baby boomers especially, a lot of the baby boomers have now realized how important it is to change their types of food they're eating and when they eat, and then of course adding strength training. Okay, so anyway, let's see what else they have to say. So then, in the conclusion, I'll put this like I do in all my videos. I'll put this research in the description area of my YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it. Go to the description section. The research will be there, or you can go to my Facebook group page, join it. Fat Loss Made Easy. There's actually an ebook in there, a gift for those of you that are having issues with trying to lose weight. It's called How to Correct beginner's mistakes when trying to lose weight. The other one, the other ebook I have is for those of you that have type 2 diabetes. It's an ebook. It's free, and it's about how to lower your blood sugar. But anyway, the conclusion to this study, however, this lack of responsiveness in elderly adults can be overcome with higher levels of protein consumption. We know, okay. Now, the thing is, okay, so how much protein? Well, that really depends on your activities. But the requirements for a larger dose of protein to generate responsive in elderly adults, similar to those responsive in younger adults, provide the support for a beneficial effect on increased protein in elderly population. So basically, what they're kind of recommending how much protein an elderly person should take, and the consumption of dietary protein consists with the upper end. They want you to be on the upper end. So what they're looking at is they're looking at 30% to 35% to 40% of your total calorie intake. Okay, so what does that mean? I'm going to give you an example for us. We found that we stimulate muscle growth. Of course, we're doing high-fat, low-carb meals, and we're combining it with alternate day fastings. We do 23-1 fast 3 days a week because we're promoting what? We're spiking our growth hormones because we're doing extended fastings, and we're also spiking our other muscle hormones such as testosterone and other ones by doing these fasting because we're in autophagy. But the thing is, reason why we're doing the alternate day fasting is I want to make sure that I'm getting in enough protein each day, or over a 7-day period, an average of protein to make sure I can keep adding lean muscle. The more lean muscle I add, actually, the stronger I get, obviously, and the more body fat you're going to burn anyway. And so my average for me is about 3/4 grams of protein per pound. So I'm bringing in probably close to 144 grams of protein per day, average on a 7-day. So even though I'm doing 23 ones, I break my fast with one of my fat protein shakes, which has got about it's got about almost 50 grams of protein. Now this is on a 23-hour fasting day, so at the 23-hour mark, I'll break my fast with a high-fat protein drink that's got about 40 to 50 grams of protein in it, veggie protein powder, collagen. I do collagen protein. I've got chia seed in it. And I got my homemade yogurt in it, and I got my kefir. They all have protein. Then an hour later, I'll have a meal, and because of I'll eat a man should eat between 6 to 8 ounces of some kind of lean meat, and then a woman should be doing probably 6 to 8 ounces of lean meat if they're exercising at least 3 to 4 days a week. That's what you're looking at. So that's kind of what we are doing. Okay, so like tonight this is my non-fasting day, and so around 4 o'clock today I'm going to have 6 ounces of a piece of lean meat, and then at 6 tonight I'm going to have 8 to 10 ounces of another piece of lean meat. And so I'm getting in now. Once I've upped my protein a little higher than normal, I was doing probably 80 to 90 grams. Once I brought it up to 100 to 144. My strength over a 90-day period just kept escalating, and now I have people in the gym wanting to know what I'm taking because I'm getting bigger. I tell them I'm taking nothing. I'm losing more body fat, so maybe that makes me look bigger. But I've upped my protein now. And so I'm pretty much doing 144 grams per day. I'm 69 now. So is that affecting my kidneys? Absolutely not. Is it causing them to overwork? Absolutely not, because we get a blood test every 6 months to check our hormones. And also they do the kidney markers and the liver markers. And my blood test is of an 18-year-old. My testosterone level, guys, every 6 months I get it checked. My testosterone level is at a 17 and 18-year-old kid. And that's where I'm at, which is where I want to be. Now, my wife is probably doing 100 grams of protein. And she's lean. You guys have seen her. So those of you that have heard some coach or trainer or health professional say, oh, you're eating too much protein, it's going to turn to fat. Well, you got to eat a lot of protein for it to turn to fat, guys. I'm telling you. And I know most of you cannot eat that much protein in a day to do that. So if you have a structured plan that works, and you know what works for you, because see, it takes time to find out what works for you. And that's where a coach comes in to help you along. They pretty much can lay the platform down and put you at a starting point. And then by checking your blood glucose levels and your ketone levels 2 to 3 times a week, he can adjust your intake of fat, protein, and carbs to make sure you're in that fat burning environment and you're in that muscle building environment and you're staying there. So that's how you do it. So the conclusion here basically is that the elderly people like me and your parents, some of your parents, we need to consume more protein than the younger adults because we are not metabolizing the protein like we did when we were younger. So it's okay for us to bump up our protein higher than the younger adults. Now, this is the key factor though. You guys know that when you buy meat from like Albertsons or Stater Brothers or some of these discount food markets, that meat is toxic. That meat is contaminated. That meat has got all kinds of contamination in it from the antibiotics that they're shooting these cows or steers with. The grain that they're feeding them is toxic. So it's going into the meat itself. And so that's what's causing an issue with the kidneys and the organs in the body. It's not because it's not because of the meat itself. It's the type of meat you're eating is causing your body to be inflamed. It's causing inflammation because your body is consuming so much toxins that the immune system just can't keep up, because you're not only consuming the toxic chemicals in the air you breathe, and if you're drinking bottled water or city water or tap water, you're drinking how many gallons of that a day that full of toxins? You already know that. That's not old news. But you're also consuming food that are full of toxins too. So there's no way your immune system can keep up. It's just being overran. And so what's the conclusion here? Or what's the answer? How do we consume more good protein? Well, here's what this research said here. This is what it said at the end of the conclusion. It says here, the consumption. Now this is actually interesting that this particular research even stated this, because most of the researches that I read or I get, this is one of the first ones that actually had a statement. And it says here, the consumption of high quality protein that are easily digestible. See, what they found out in their research, that by giving the elderly people a high quality protein, it took the stress off the digestive tract and the kidneys also. Now, if you're doing intermittent fasting or if you're doing alternate day fasting, you're giving your body, your digestive tract, a time to rest and to clean itself out, because you're fasting. You're not eating every two hours. That's the problem nowadays, is people are eating every 2 hours, and they're not giving their bodies their digestive tract a chance to rest. And the cleaning crew isn't able to go into the small intestines or the colon and clean the liners out, because you're eating every 2 hours, so there's no chance. Your body naturally has to clean itself out, but you have to stop eating to do that. And that's why the alternate day fasting works so well. It keeps, that intestinal liner, you do a, 6, 7, 8 months of that, that intestinal liner, that small intestinal liner is going to be beautifully pink. That's what you're looking for. But the focus here is that I get tired of people saying that meat's not good for you when we were, as humans, were designed to digest meat because that's what our ancestors ate, but we have never evolved away from that. Our digestive system and our mouths were designed to chew meat. Problem is, most of you guys are eating contaminated meat, which is causing inflammation in the body, and that's the issue. You have to go to pasture-raised, grass-finished meats. You have to go to organic chickens that have been raised in a pasture, that are raised on the natural foods that are in that pasture. Those are you can't be eating chicken or beef that they're grain feeding or they're feeding these processed meals or grains to. It's not going to work. You have to eat eggs these chickens are raised in a pasture. They're eating the bugs. Those are pasture-raised eggs. That's what you have to eat. If you're consuming dairy, you got to make sure you're doing organic dairy, that cows have been raised in a pasture and they're grass-finished, because when they produce their milk, you want to make sure they're producing a lot more of the A2 casein. Go back to my YouTube channel and learn what that is. Because now, if you go to a Stater Brothers or Albertson and buy the regular milk, it's got too much A1 casein, which causes inflammation. That's why people have dairy issues in their gut, because of the A1 casein. If you notice in your Stater Brothers and Albertsons on the shelves, are you starting to see more of the A2 casein milk on there? Guess why? Because A2 casein is good for you, and those are actually from pasture-raised, grass-fed, grass-finished cows. They produce more of the A2, which is good for the body. And so when you're doing your cheese or your cream cheese or your sour creams, it has to be organic from grass or pasture-raised, grass-finished cows. So it's very important. I mean, yes, are they more expensive? Absolutely. But if you're doing a high-fat, low-carb meals and you're combining it with alternate day fasting, it's going to work out to the same price. Because what? Well, you're not eating every 2 hours, are you? On your non-fasting days, most of you are only going to eat 3 meals, and they're not going to be very big. And then on your fasting days, you may only have two meals that day or 1 meal that day. So you're saving money, and you're not buying snacks, because higher fat foods, higher good fat foods, are going to make you fuller longer, so you don't want a snack. That's how people are losing weight, because of the high fat. And in these meats, we're looking at lean meats, not high fat meat. Now if you're buying beef and it's got a lot of that white swirly stuff in it, that's the bad fat. You don't want that. You want the lean meat. But we get our meat from Butcher Box. Unbelievable, the taste. All that meat is pasture-raised, grass-finished, and it's actually comes out. It's cheaper for me to buy it from Butcher Box. You go to butcherbox.com. It's cheaper to buy it from them than it is for me to go to the store. So I have no excuse on why I can't do that. Neither do you. But you got to look at your health and what it's worth. Is it worth spending the extra money for meat that is healthy for you? That's going to give you the good nutrients you need? I would think so. Okay, guys. So that's it. I hope you got some value out of this, especially those seniors out there that are trying to add more lean muscle and lose more body fat. And if you're exercising 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, you might want to look at your protein intake and see if you're bringing in enough protein to help build lean muscle mass. But if you're doing alternate day fasting and you're doing the extended fasting 2 or 3 times a week, you're just going to help your muscle building by activating your muscle building hormones, because once you eat a meal, it drops your growth hormone levels down. So once you eat a meal, and it takes for us, for example, it might take, if I have a meal at 12 o'clock, by the time I have my next meal, I've digested all that. So it doesn't take us long to digest it. So guys, hope you have a great day today, and I'm gonna do a video. There's really a big issue right now. All these diet coaches and nutritionists are telling people, okay, the high fat, low carb diet's good, but they want you to add fruit. And I'm also seeing these doctors and these nutritionists, these type 2 diabetic nutritionists, telling these people that have high levels of sugar that it's okay to have berries and certain fruits because they're low glycemic and they don't spike your glucose that high. And that's BS. I mean, if you have type 2 diabetes, guys, you've got to get off the fruit for a while. I mean, yes, once you've dropped your glucose levels down to normal and healthy, and once you've lost that weight down to where you want to lose it, you can introduce fruit back into your lifestyle moderately. But fruit breaks down into something they call fructose. And what is fructose? Sugar. Sugar. They're all the same. So there's a time when you have to not have any fruit. And I'm going to do a video about this because I got to inform those that are getting misinformation from these health professionals about that. So guys, you have a great day, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Have a good one.